Boom, baby. We are live. Welcome to Interview with the Man, episode number 275, where I am joined by a good man, a good friend, and another general in the Hot Dude Army who will be in Body Language Mastery helping out men like you on June 25th. That's when enrollment starts, and then class starts on July 1st. Raith, who I like to call a red pill sage. Raith, welcome to the show, man. How are you this morning?
Doing good, brother. How about you?
Doing good, doing good. Very early for you, yeah?
Not really. I just, I'm a 9 to 5er for another year or so. So I just took a little bit of time off to be here with you.
Good stuff, man. And let's just jump right into it. So, like, let's talk about you and then what's going on with you in just your life and how you found this kind of corner of the internet, if you will.
Well, I guess from an adult standpoint, I did about 23 years in the military, 22 and a half years. Then went out and become a cop for a while. Did that for 5 years.
Wow.
Then I got into adult education through my degrees. My degrees are in human resource and business management.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing that for, about, I guess, 12 years now. The in-between was doing contract work for a contractor in DOD.
Wow. So how old are you, for everybody to know?
Older than 60. Let's go that way.
Beautiful. Older than 60. You're a guy that's, you're kind of living the dream. I think you're doing pretty well. I think you give a really, a lot of good, just, down to earth advice that I think is relatively rare these days. There's a lot of guys giving advice that's, quite honestly, it's a little extreme. Like, there's some corners of the internet like, oh, we fix everything wrong with society by taking away women's right to vote. I just,
Yeah, I don't see that as happening anytime soon. So
no, it'll never happen. It'll never happen. How did you come to find this corner of the internet? You're a guy, you don't really need it. You've kind of been doing great on your own. What brought you to it? How'd you find it?
Well, I've been married twice, and before everybody thinks, I've been divorced. I haven't. I've lost both wives. First one to a terminal, and the second one was in an accident. So, and I was just sitting around, and I started watching you when you had the whiteboard show, as you like to call it. So,
Yeah.
I guess I watched that a couple years, and then I contacted you, about a little bit over a year and a half ago. And you kept telling me, no, you need to join my community. You need to join my community. And I said, yeah. Then I started asking, do I get a senior discount? And you, no. Then you wouldn't give me a military discount. So, but, so, I finally joined, and you turned me on to Myron. Myron helped me out a lot,
Yeah.
weight-wise and stuff. I went from, I guess 2.5 years ago, from like 275 to now I'm like 220. Wow. So, and still working on it.
Yep.
But as far as the red pill stuff, I wasn't raised by a single mom. I was raised by a single father. So it was a little bit different for me. I don't,
Right.
I've never had the mommy issue type things. So, because, my father raised me to be a man. There wasn't a woman there since I was about 8 years old to coddle me and stuff. So,
Where were you born?
I was born in South Carolina.
Okay. Good stuff.
And my father was from Ohio, and he moved us up to Ohio. So I grew up in, so I think somebody said on the show the other day, the shithole of Ohio, Columbus, in that area. So, but it was good growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, got my first piece of ass when I was about 12 years old. So it's been going ever since.
What happened with your mom at the when you said 8 years old was when you've been started raised by dad?
Yeah, she left with another guy, took off with another guy, and uh,
Hmm.
there was four of us, my brother, myself, and two sisters, and she took the girls and left us with my dad,
Hmm.
which was a good thing. I don't regret any of the stuff that my dad taught me, and you know, it is what it is, and you just move on, develop a life for yourself.
Wow. Did you keep in contact with her after she left?
Not till I was about 20,
Mm-hmm.
and I talk to her. I don't know every once in a while now, but my dad passed away back in the 80s,
Oh, her
and
husband?
no, my dad.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
She remarried a couple
Mm-hmm.
times. So um, when my dad passed away, I kind of didn't have anything to do with her for years, and then I guess about 2 or 3 years ago we started keeping in contact again.
Mm-hmm. And
But
how many brothers and sisters did you have?
by that marriage, I have a brother and two sisters, and then by my dad's second marriage, I have a brother and a sister. So
Mm. Good stuff. So, what did your dad do when he was growing up?
uh, he was in the military for a lot of that time, and then after my mom left, he went to work for the state, and worked in the union, was a union boss, and so I voted for Reagan, so you can imagine how that went in 1988. So,
Mm-hmm.
but
No, I don't understand that. Right? What do you mean?
well, Reagan was a Republican, and my dad was a staunch Democrat. So,
Ah.
because he was a union guy, so he uh, he wasn't very happy when his son voted for Reagan. So, but I
Mm-mm.
was in the
And
military, and Reagan was telling us he was going to give us a raise, so I
okay,
took the
okay.
money.
So your dad was in union. What kind of work was he doing?
He worked for the state. He basically worked in highways, but his division handled all the roadside parks in Ohio.
Hmm. Road. What was it? Roadside parks.
Yeah, they call them rest areas now. So,
Ah, okay, okay. Rest area. I didn't know that. Rest areas are run by the government.
hmm they run by the states.
Oh, wow. Interesting. So what did he do?
Um, General maintenance guy, um, fixing the restrooms and stuff there, and he was my dad was really a blue collar guy.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, when we were in South Carolina, he worked in the cotton mills.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So, and his father worked in the oil fields and he did sharecropping during the summer, and he worked in the oil fields in the winter.
Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. And he raised you and your. How long was he just a single dad?
Uh, I was probably 17 when he got remarried, so about 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then by the time, he remarried, I was already going in the military. So I went in the military when I was 17.
Wow. You went into was the Air Force, right?
Right.
Why did you join? Like, what was the motivation to you joining the Air Force?
Get the hell out of Ohio.
Okay. So it was just like your kind of meal ticket to freedom, if you will.
Yeah, I think so. I had done I graduated high school when I was 16, and I'd done a year doing drywall, traveling back and forth from Florida to Ohio. That was kind of the way you made a living in construction back then.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't build in Ohio in the winter because evidently when it was cold, you can't hang drywall.
Mm-hmm.
You can, but it was just, I think it was just everybody's excuse to go to Florida for the summer, for the winter anyway.
I see. And so you just got tired of doing that, and you just said, "Fuck it, I'm going to join the Air Force."
No, I'd always wanted to go in the military. My dad he was ex Air Force, and he would only sign for me to go into the Air Force. So that's how I ended up in the Air Force.
I
But
see. And you went. What year did you join the? What year did you go to boot camp?
1976, right at the end of Vietnam.
Oh wow, 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 wow. I hear like boot camp's a lot more softer now, but
Yeah, they get timeout cards. I wish
Are
I'd
you
have had a couple of
serious?
those. Yeah, they do. I wish I'd had a couple of those.
You're joking me. What the hell is a timeout card?
It's like the safe space. You get to give the timeout card, and you can go feel better about yourself before you go back into training.
Wait. So you can be like in the middle of being like mentally abused, if you
Mhm.
will, and then you just say like, "Oh, I need timeout. I need to go."
Yep, that's what they tell me.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Nope.
Our nation's fucked.
I don't know. I've been watching the YouTube. There's enough of those old guys that'll go back and fight. So
Good Lord in heaven. That's fucking insane.
yeah.
Oh
So
man, what was boot camp like for you? Like, what was it like back in 1970? You said 76, yeah.
yeah.
So what was it like?
I remember waking up my first day there. I had a trash can over my head and someone was banging on it. It was one of the TIs trying to wake us up.
Jesus
Uh,
Christ.
and then, we marched and, we did everything that you imagine about the military. And not once did anybody ask me if I wanted a timeout. So,
Good Lord. And so you're in the military. You're 17. What did you do when you were in the military?
I started out in aircraft and ground radar
Mm-hmm.
and navigation systems.
Mm-hmm.
Did that for about, I guess, 11 years. And then I went into combat logistics, which was basically we loaded airplanes, sometimes flew with them and then unloaded them, in depending on where they went. So
And where were you going?
I spent some time in Panama, a little bit of time in the desert.
Which desert? There's a lot.
Uh,
You need a cup of coffee or something? I'm
no,
pulling
I'm
teeth over
good.
here.
No, I'm good, man. It's just some things I can't talk about. So
Okay, they just tell me it's top secret. You can't talk about it. No, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so you went to the desert, you went to Panama, and how long were you in the Air Force?
22 and a half years.
Oh shit! So you got the full pension and everything.
Yep.
So did they throw you out, or you left willingly?
No, I retired.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I was sitting about 39, fixing to turn 40, and said, "Yeah, I've had enough of this."
Oh wow,
And then I went and become a cop for 5 years.
interesting. So you got out when you were 39.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. A lot of people think like life is over when it's 39. A lot of the young guys, and that's interesting. You started something brand new. So what was your rank in? You were enlisted, yeah. What did you get up to?
Right. Senior master sergeant.
Okay. So what's that like?
E8.
E6?
E8.
E8. Okay, pretty high.
Yeah.
Good stuff. And you're in a good living, doing the whole military thing. And you got out of that, then you became a police officer. Where were you a police officer?
In Idaho.
Wow. So you lived in Idaho too.
Yeah, I've lived in Idaho, New Mexico, Pennsylvania, Ohio, South Carolina. Spent time here in Denver. This is my third time getting back in Denver, living.
Mm-hmm.
So
Idaho PD, huh? Was it Boise? What was it?
no, it was a little small county. I worked for a little county called Elmore County.
Sounds thrilling.
It actually, was. I mean, anything that happens in a big city happens in a little town. It's just, not as often.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty. So you were there a cop for 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
and then why'd you end up retiring from that job?
I don't know. I just wanted to try something different and started going to school. So I didn't even get my first college degree till I was 40, 41.
Mm-hmm.
Went to school, had the GI Bill and stuff, so I decided to go to school and got a degree and found out I could actually make more money. Actually, you could make more money with a degree back then. Now it's almost impossible.
Mm-hmm. And Yeah.
Let me shut my door for a minute. I hear something in the background.
Yeah, I hear it beeping too. I was wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, just so you know, Raith. So we're gonna go into more detail what he does now, but basically, Raith helps guys get jobs and get situated in the workplace. I'll get my lights sorted out here. There we go. Okay. All right, finally got my lights.
Sorry about that.
You're good. You're good. So you went to college. You got it fully funded by Uncle Sam. And what did you study? What was it?
First degree was in business management.
Uh-huh.
And then I took another degree for human resources.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I got into basically communications education. My human resources degree is in organizational communication and change.
Mm-hmm. And so now you've been doing that for a while now. You work for the university, yeah?
No, actually, I work for the government. So,
okay.
I work in adult education in a vocational program, taking what they call at-risk and underprivileged youth and getting them in education systems and teaching them trades.
So you work for the government?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought you worked for a university or a college or something like that.
No, I work for the government.
Okay. And the plan is it's just to help get guys employed in vocational services?
Yep. Get them into, we have union trades and stuff like that. We get them into apprenticeship programs, get them put into regular unions. And then we do some stuff that has nothing to do with apprenticeships. It's just like food services and CNA, that kind of stuff.
Tell me this. A lot of people are under the impression that their jobs are drying up in America and there's no opportunity, and that just seems to be the common excuse amongst a lot of younger people. You obviously have a lot of frontline data, and you do this for a living. Is that true at all?
No. The problem is the jobs that they want are drying up in America.
And what kind of jobs are those?
Well, as you know, through the group, I've been doing counseling with a lot of guys. And when we start out, it seems like they want the job that pays $120,000 a year right out of high school. They haven't put any time to invest in themselves, like going to a trade school or anything like that. And they think that, they should be walking out the door and people should just be giving them a lot of money to sit around and play on their computers. And if you're going into programming and stuff, that may be true, but if you're not doing something that requires some kind of technical skill, and even programming requires technical skill. Josh can affirm that.
Right.
Graduating high school isn't the ticket for someone walking up saying, "Hey, here's your $170,000 a year." And
right.
Like I said, a lot of guys just don't want to put the work in. And, I think way too many young people today decide that they want the same standard of living they had when they left their mom's house or dad's house, where dad's paying for everything.
Right.
And $125 a week gets you very far because you're not paying rent or anything else.
Right. Right. Exactly.
And when you start talking to them about, entering the trades or, developing some kind of technical skill, they don't see the use for it.
Mm-hmm.
So the jobs are out there. It's just whether or not you're going to apply yourself and, find a trade or find a technical job that's going to pay you the money that you think you deserve and need.
So tell me this. Let's say there's a young guy out there. He's 18. He just graduated high school. He wants to make $120,000 a year. What path would you put him on to get that accomplished the quickest?
Get him into some technical school or technical training. And, Thor and I talked about this, and I'm a big part. I actually have 3 grandsons now. They're linemen. And that was before I even met Thor. That was just, I told him, if you want to make money, you're going to have to work for it. Mm-hmm. And, so that's kind of where I pushed them to do. it's a lot in the rural areas. There's a lot of work for linemen in those areas.
Mm-hmm.
So got them into that. All three of them make really good money.
Mm-hmm. Define really good money.
I don't know. 22 years old, you're making $65,000 to $75,000 a year. That's pretty good money.
It's not bad.
I didn't see anything like that when I was 22. So of course I was in the military. But
So again, like to say they graduate, you say get into a trade, right? What trade would you get them into?
the growing trades right now is welding, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get into welding school, get your certs out of the way, and we're only talking a year to a year and a half. Welders are making anywhere from 25 to 45 an hour,
Right.
depending on what kind of welding you get into.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good trade right now. Carpentry looks like it's going to expand. At least before this, I haven't seen the impact that COVID's had on the carpentry trades yet, the building trades.
Mm-hmm. And carpentry in the sense of like building houses and whatnot.
Building houses, commercial construction. That's where I started out. I did like to do drywall and commercial construction.
Yeah.
So that seems to be growing. People still need a place to live. No one's going to live, for the most part, out on the streets. Electrician. That was the first trade that I got certified in, was electrician,
Mm-hmm.
and that was that's growing. HVAC, believe it or not, is growing right now because not only with the building industry, but there's a lot of aftermarket work for HVAC.
Mm-hmm.
That's just some of them, but like I said, most of the
HVAC,
trade,
for the people that are watching, that's what does that stand for?
heating and air conditioning.
Yeah. Right. No, but none of these soy boys want to be cold or feel any of the elements out there.
Right. So, but I mean, the trades are, they're projected anywhere from 5 to 14% growth over the next, 10 years.
Really?
Yeah. So there's money to be made out there. Before, I've always done electrical work in between, other jobs, and, you can make on the average, anywhere from 26 to $36 an hour.
As an electrician?
Yep.
Yeah, see, that's I was under the impression that like I feel like all these people are like, automation's taking the jobs and the job market's drying up. I just think that people, everybody's willing to go be an Uber driver, right? You just turn on your car, drive around, and like you literally just destroy your car and make no money. And nobody wants to go do welding certifications, electrician. I used to be a helper on a construction site, and you learn a lot. The thing is this. Let's talk about these certifications. So how long would it take somebody to get, let's just go with welding. How long would it take somebody to go from zero experience to get a welding certification?
I've seen it done in as little as 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
But on the average, I would say it's probably about 11 to 14 months.
Mm-hmm. And are you getting paid during this time?
Depends. There's some companies that'll hire you, pay for your education. You just got to get out there and make the best deal you want to make.
Mm-hmm.
Like G. Russell said, pipeline welders are making 150 a year in North Dakota.
Right here. Yeah.
And you're welding in a circle, and then it has to be, it has to be certified and has to be pressure tested and all that stuff. But like I said, the jobs are there, but you're going to have to work in the elements.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have to, do the time to put in to get the training. And like I said, it's not like trade jobs are, you got to have a 4-year degree. I mean, you can get most of them out in, 12 to 18 months.
Right.
And like I said, there are a lot of companies that hire you as an apprentice just to train you so that you do it their way.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got to show up every day. And that's the biggest problem employers have these days, is getting people to actually show up every day and do the work.
Yeah. Yeah, it just seems like the male motivation has taken a dump. Real quick, thank you to Myron Gaines, Unplugged Fitness, with the 4.99 super chat. Says here to support John and my man Raith. This is the caliber of coaching you guys will get from all different kinds of men in body, language, mastery. Sign up now. Yeah, click on the link or text MLD right there to 30500. We got somebody in Alaska who signed up with the text messaging program. I'm very excited to talk to this Alaskan man, whoever he is. Yeah, so that's what I figured, because I had a friend, his name was Jim, and honestly, dude, the guy is a statistical anomaly. He used to be addicted to oxycodone, and they were called Roxys.
Mm-hmm.
And he got to the point where he was crushing them up and heating them up in a spoon and injecting them. And he went kind of off the deep end, stole a motorcycle, ended up going to prison. And he was in prison for a year, but he got out and he got some certification for welding, and he turned his life around. He's sober now. He is jacked. He's built like a tank. And he's doing welding. He's traveling the world, and he's a pipe welder. And he's doing like, I think he's doing like about 100 to 120 a year. And he's my age. He's a little bit younger than me. He's like, 32, 33. Not bad as a guy who literally was in prison and turned his life around. But it seems to me that there's a lot of like, what do you call it? There's a lot of just blue collar work, if you will. But yeah, people just want that cush Instagram job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what people don't understand is, if you go back, 50 years when most of these guys are, I guess it'd be great grandfathers for these young guys, they weren't making a lot of money in blue collar work. Mm-hmm. Because the majority of the blue collar work back then was factory work. The only ones that really made money were the auto workers and the steel workers, those guys that were unionized. Well, just about everything's unionized now. Doesn't mm-hmm. necessarily mean you work in a union shop, but, employers have come to understand that you got to pay a living wage, and in service industry, because it's such high demand, the wages have skyrocketed. Where a guy used to make $30,000-$40,000 a year, now he's making 90 to 110, 120. So wages have doubled in the last probably, I want to say 15 years.
Yeah.
Because 15 years ago is when we really started noticing that there weren't a lot of tradesmen around. And the stuff that people used to take for granted, the skill sets aren't there anymore.
Right.
So, so the trades they're getting paid. And, a lot of people don't understand that, 80% of the population in this country live in big cities.
Yeah.
And only about 20% actually, work in the food industry. I'm talking about growing food and stuff like that, because it's become a corporate entity too.
Yeah.
So you have 20% of the population supporting 80% of the population, and that 20%, you can hear all the horror stories, of the past, but that 20%, the wages are rising rapidly, mm-hmm. because people still need to eat, people still need to live in, homes or apartments, and the money's there. But I'm going to tell you, it's not sitting on a computer.
Yeah.
It's actually getting out there and, using your arms, using your legs, and using your back to make a living.
Yep.
But
it's not bad.
You get paid for it now.
Yeah. I mean, people just think like, people don't seem to think little things like, being a plumber. Being a plumber is actually a pretty lucrative position, I would say. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah. Plumbers, they, I know when I have one come to my house, they're charging me $135 an hour.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you take his overhead and stuff out of that, he's probably still making $69, $70 an hour.
Yeah. And if you're an independent guy, I mean, you know what you're doing. You're just a one-man show. You can do some pretty serious damage.
Yeah.
Doing just work by yourself, because, literally it's a shitty job, but I mean, nobody's going to stop shitting anytime soon.
Right.
These toilets, these corporate gigs, everything, everybody wants to be all fancy and stuff, but, a lot of people, they just don't know how to do their own plumbing. Like I actually know how to change out a toilet. I did it one time, and I watched a YouTube video and I figured out. And it was actually pretty simple, to be honest with you. Like, putting the wax ring down, taking the old one off. I didn't even know there was a wax ring under the toilet. And, figure that out via YouTube. I did it when I was like 25, and I was like, God damn, I could charge people to do this. And, like, I think plumbers charge, like, what, $300 to do it sometimes? It's pretty steep, but the work behind it is actually not too difficult.
Yeah, I have a home in Idaho, and I have a home here in Denver too. And I needed some work done on my home in Idaho, and to change 8 feet of pipe for the sewer cost me $4,000.
Jesus! And how long did it take?
I don't know. My son was there. They did it all in a day, so
$4,000 per day. It's not bad. What's it going to cost you? Like $1,000 in parts maximum, parts and labor?
I don't even think it was that 8 foot of pipe and a connector. We're probably talking $160 in parts.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Well, all the rest of it went for him to come out there and him to do it. So
we got some questions here in the chat I want to talk about because I think they're good. Here JJP Jesse 1990 says, "Do you believe blue collar jobs are more needed than white collar jobs? That's why degrees don't have as much value."
I think that's part of it, but the other part of it is the fact that everybody has a degree. When everybody can do the same thing, it gets devalued. And as everybody wanted to move away from this in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, as they wanted to move away from blue collar work, and college became so readily available, it kind of devalued the degree.
Mm-hmm.
And now if you have a degree, they may look at you for a job, but you've got to have some kind of experience to back it up. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be experience in that degree. Like I said earlier, the biggest problem employers have right now is actually getting people to show up for work. So if you've even got a history of being the guy that shows up every day, you have an edge over the guy that's, been fired 8 times or left a job 8 times because he was expected to be there every day. So, that the degree coupled with experience and skill, you're, above 90% of the other people looking for jobs. Because most people, a lot of these young people literally come out of high school thinking they're going to make $80,000 to $100,000 a year. And their only skill is sitting in front of a computer, and they don't even have YouTube skills.
Yeah.
They know how to use Word and Excel, and they think, hey, I'm worth it.
They've got a PhD in that poster behind you, Call of Duty.
That's right. I'm still working on mine. So.
Oh man, it's fantastic. Do you play games?
Yeah, I do.
That's awesome.
So,
let's see. We have another one. Scott says, $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Scott. It says, work hard and get your hands dirty. Working hard takes practice and discipline like anything else. Stop being dorks. We are men. Love you, MLD. Love you too, Scott. That's a guy who works with his hands every day. And he is now, yes, he's Alpha Bro Max with that super chat donation. If you guys want to be Alpha Bro Max, go ahead and send that donation on in. Yeah, I think that the opportunity is still there in America, but a lot of people don't want to do it. But a lot, are you familiar with like China's 15-year plan that they always come out with?
I read one, God, years ago. I haven't really kept up with them because, a lot of what they're looking at is advanced tech industries. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, we just don't have that capability in our country right now.
Yeah. But I'm just talking about like the long term thing that they do. Like, they have like that Chinese name, like the Great Glorious 15-year plan of Chinese indoctrination. Every 15 years they come out with a plan as a nation, how they want to take over the world. And what a lot of people don't realize right now is a lot of Chinese are moving into North Africa. But nobody's talking about that. China is moving in. They're taking little islands from Japan and Korea here and there. They're taking islands from Taiwan. China is on a war path to take over the world.
Well, it's resource the big point of going into Africa and stuff is to capture all those resources for their manufacturing industries.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the bad thing about it is that we have most of those resources within our country. We just don't mine them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because we want to save the the microorganisms of the world, and that's more important than saving the only organism that inhabits with the most intelligent on this world. So, and I don't want to get all the eco guys on me, but
Mm-hmm.
you've got to find balance, and you've got to be hungry, and China's hungry right now. And like I said, they're looking at the platinum industry, the silver industry, the gold industry. Why? Because all that's used into making electronics. So that's a lot. If you look at a lot of what they're doing over there, I mean, they're giving billions of dollars to these governments just to basically capture the resources of that country.
Yeah.
And it's if you don't go in, it's a war, but it's not a war of killing and mayhem. It's a war of economics.
Yeah.
And they're so far up to this point, they've been better than we have. They learned from us because that's what we used to do.
Yep.
But we've come to the point where we think that those resources are better left in the ground than they are supporting us. Look at our steel industry, and I'm not a Trump supporter, but Trump had the right idea about bringing back the steel industry.
Yeah.
Just about everything we have has some form of metal, steel in it, and that we need. We used to make ourselves. We don't do that anymore. We farm it out to Japan for the high quality steel, and we farm it out to China for the low quality steel that we need.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, that's part of their basis. How do you get those in? How do you get the iron ore and that stuff? You go to Africa and you basically make them dependent upon you for their economic future.
Yeah. There's a lot of I think America has gotten fat and lazy, to be honest. I mean, literally, and symbolically as well. Like, we've been at the top as a nation for so long. A lot of people don't see that behind the scenes. Also, like, China is trying to topple the dollar as the world's reserve currency. A lot of people don't even know what the fuck the world's reserve currency means. But basically, the most trusted currency in the world, as of right now, is the United States dollar. And as an American citizen, that's pretty powerful if you think about it on a global scale, especially if you decide to go, like I do, live abroad, but still make your money in United States dollars. I mean, you could live, like, if you like, figuring out how to make a $2,000 a month online business it's so insultingly easy. And $2,000 a month in a place like Vietnam, or even, I mean, if you want to go to Thailand, I hate Thailand, but place like Vietnam, $2,000 a month, like, you're living like a king. You are literally living like a king. And the United States is constantly under attack from China, and China is playing to win. And America, we're over here. I don't understand what's going on with America, because here we are fighting about stuff like there's 76 genders, right? Genders on a spectrum, all this insane stuff, and and meanwhile, China is like forcing their kids to learn math and hard science from a young age. Even if you watch some of these Chinese gamers, man, the way they calculate the drop in a game to like hit somebody with a sniper shot, across the board, like, just the common mathematics that these guys do is just unbelievable. And I think a lot of Americans right now, they're piggybacking off the success of our ancestors, because this new generation of Americans, a super large majority of them are just gigantic crybaby losers, in my opinion.
Well, I think it comes down to identity. If you don't know, if you can't even determine what sex you are by looking down, it's almost impossible for you to come up with, a plan for your future. And, you and I have talked, a lot of young men today, they don't understand the hero's journey and how you have to struggle before you can triumph. because what the hero's journey does, or what the journey of life does, is it forces you to decide what's important to you, and it gives you purpose. And as you know, sitting through some of these seminars with some of these young men, webinars, a lot of them, the one thing they lack the most is purpose. They can't identify what they need to do in life because everybody's told them that that's not important.
Yeah.
Life you have to live. You just don't show up every day. And like I always tell my kids and my grandkids, you either live life or life lives you.
Yeah.
And we're a country of life living you right now.
Yeah.
Because we're more worried about, our perception of success than we are success.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing when I talk to young men, for the most part, it's they don't have any perception of themselves.
Yeah.
They live off the perception of what other people think about them.
Instagram Nation.
Yep. And that's the biggest thing that you try to instill in young people, especially young men. You're a man, and there's obligations to being a man, and a lot of guys don't want to take those obligations, and they become, as Rollo says, really bad women.
Yeah.
Just by default, just by not even participating.
Yeah.
Because everybody gets a trophy.
Yeah.
And that's not popular these days, but the fact is if you're not out there performing in one way or another, you're performing in another way, and that sometimes is being the clown.
Yeah. Yeah, we saw that on that show when I went on Twitch, and I was talking to those two Asian girls, how like every guy that came on before was just clowning himself. That one guy took a banana and deep-throated it and was like trying to be funny and sexual about it. But it's
now, in your life, have you ever tried to do that?
That's disgusting. No.
No. I don't know. No. And this is one of the issues that I've kind of seen in life. Women want equality, but they want equality based on the worst possible, or as they view, the worst possible traits of a man. That makes them equal. If they can be as bad as the men that have been in their lives, then they think they're equal.
Interesting.
And then men come up and they want the luxury of a woman, and performing like a woman thinks it gives them that luxury, just like women performing like men think it makes them men.
Yeah.
And it doesn't.
Yeah.
If being a man to a woman is fucking as many people of the opposite sex as you can, and that's what they aspire to, then they aspire to do the thing they hate most about us, which makes no sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about that. I think also Thor makes a really, really good point here. He says that's China. He says China is very good at playing the long game, and that's what they're doing. China is going to take over the planet. I think America is very short-sighted because, let's be honest, feminism is not about women's rights or any of that crap, right? It's not. It's not about women being happy or empowered, because if you look at the most miserable women in the world, they're from America. And America is like literally one of the most privileged nations on the entire planet. And the women are miserable.
Yeah.
Because we have stripped them of their femininity, and we tell them, you can be happy. All you need to do is be a man. Act like a man. Go drink, say bruh, dude, man. Okay, bro. girls talking like that, that shit gives me a reverse boner. My dick goes up inside me. And I don't like just hearing that. I don't like it's just so like American women, they do not know how to be feminine. Western women, they don't know how to be feminine. Like girls, like even girls like in Mexico, even in Puerto Rico. When I went to Puerto Rico, those girls were super feminine. Colombia, girls from women from Africa are super feminine as well. And pretty much everywhere that's not a Western nation, the beauty and art of femininity has been lost in America, and it's been lost because of brainwashing in the media via social media, mainstream television media, music, all these things. And people just don't seem to realize. People don't think like what you intake into your ears, into your eyes, the data, they think it doesn't affect you. And it's absolutely the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life, because it does fucking affect you. And I think that's the big problem with America is like, I don't know if it's organic. I feel like it's influenced by somebody, right? But they're trying to make the men the women and the women the men.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say femininity's gone. I just think it's in the wrong sex these days.
Oof, yikes, that's terrible. Oh God,
dude, you and I talk. We know. So you've seen some of this stuff on TikTok.
Yeah.
I mean, I would never in my right mind think about standing up and dancing on TikTok for somebody.
Yeah.
To try to get attention.
Yeah.
And not even, and dancing like a female. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's to the point where men think that their priorities and their value comes from acting like women.
Yeah.
And the more they act like a woman, the more valuable they think they are.
Yeah.
And, we get that from the fact that women say, well, I want a sensitive man. And I this is what I expect in a man. No, they want girlfriends.
Yeah.
They don't want boyfriends or husbands. They want girlfriends. Mm-hmm. And, I can tell you there hasn't a woman I've dated that thought I was her girlfriend. Yeah. I just don't go there.
What guys don't realize is like when you act like that, women are like internally repulsed. And I think that's like when guys like us, we have a little bit more trouble when it comes to dating and stuff. Not like we're bad at it, but like we just get piled in with the rest of the men, because guys like us who are a little bit more traditionally masculine, Christ, man, like we're outnumbered like what, fucking 10,000 to 1.
Well, I mean, you figure the 80-20 rule, and that 80% of those that they don't want to fuck are trying to, act like women. So
I think it's worse than 80-20 personally.
Well, I think it probably is, and you're probably looking at 5% of the men that are in the category that we like to think we are, and then so that means that other 15% are somewhere in between. They're the purple pill guys, and they have some success. Mm-hmm. The 80% that act like women, I guess they have a lot of girlfriends, and not in a good way.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big downfall in America, because it seems to me that the reason this stuff is being pushed, it's all about the money, right? Women are easier to take money from. Women are like, I mean, you look at the debt, student loan debt, 2/3 of it is it's female ownership. Look at the top billionaires in the world. All the richest women in the world, they all inherited it.
Well, but look at it this way. It is about the money, but it's not. It's getting men to develop the same buying habits as females. Mm. If you take, 50% of the population has female buying habits because 51% of the population is female.
Yeah.
So if you can take the other, 40% of the males and give them the same need for attention and stuff through purchasing, it's economic success for somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I look at guys, and like I said, if you look via the internet, TikTok, or even YouTube, if you just go in and look at, the 10 years ago, there wasn't probably 3 guys that worried about male grooming. And now it's its own niche on YouTube.
Yeah.
And, if you can get a guy to spend, just a portion of the money that women spend on facial products and, hygiene products and stuff like that, as a company, you won.
Yeah.
Because now you have basically 90% of the population buying your product.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, when I was growing up, the biggest thing a guy could do is buy cologne and deodorant.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Old Spice in that beige bottle.
Yeah. now you go to the store and you have the men's section is getting to be about as big as the women's section.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, men just don't. We don't spend a lot of money. I mean, obviously, I'm doing okay for myself these days, but like, the highlight of my week is Domino's Pizza. It's like $14, for a personal pizza.
Well, me and guns, so I spend a lot of money, but it's
yeah.
It's on things that I think are useful and I find value in.
Mark Viola has a question for you. He says, what would you suggest for teenagers interested in trades, not yet ready for formal training or apprenticeships? My son loves working on engines and interested in welding.
I think if you look around, you go on to like meetups and stuff like that. They have little trade groups, and I would say participate with your son. But, they have little groups of people that meet up to teach woodworking, those kind of things. Get them working with their hands so that they start understanding that there's value in work. That's the biggest thing. Mm-hmm. And like I said, you can get them into woodworking and stuff like that. Those guys usually tend to go towards the carpentry trades. Take one of these little courses with them. They have little night school courses for teenagers and adults, or do what most dads did when I was a kid: spend time with your kids.
Crazy concept, right?
Yeah.
Mark just said with the $5 super chat, says, thanks guys for the response. MLD, love the show, buddy. Thank you, Mark. But yeah, definitely. I think a lot of these guys in the manosphere or whatever, like, don't get married, blah blah blah. Like, I intend to get married, but I'll do it in Japan and then register it in America. Therefore, like, the divorce courts have no power over her, or over me rather, and I'll be safe because I want to have sons, man. I tell you what, though, I'll be disappointed if I have a daughter. I'll probably cry. But I want a son. I told Miss MLD we're having kids. We'll stop when we have a boy. So.
Like I said, I was married the first time for 31 years, and I'm not a proponent against marriage, and I would say even today, marriage can be a good deal if you do all the things you need to do so that you can maintain frame within your marriage. So many times guys get married these days, they go into it with a red pill mindset, and then about 2 weeks into the marriage, that's all gone because and part of it is also the black pill guys that are sitting there. She's going to take you to the cleaners, that kind of stuff. So it gets you to the point where you're trying to appease her all the time so that, you don't get zeroed out and all that stuff. If you marry a hoe, it's going to happen. There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah. But there's a vetting process that you really do have to go through. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear the word vetting, but I'm not talking about making a woman your slave. I'm talking about judging the character of the women you're going to bring into your life for long term.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing that, you're just looking for trouble.
Yeah.
So I'm not against marriage. Like I said, I've been married twice. Um, and, in the marriage, a lot of people, cheat in marriages. I never cheated in my marriage.
Mm-hmm.
But, the times in between has been fun. But like, right now I'm dating 3 women, and if one of them happens to be the next one that I want to be in a long-term relationship with,
Mm-hmm.
I'll figure that out. And, there's a process that I go through that, tells me whether or not I can, feel secure in being with this woman.
Yeah.
And because, I'm not going to lie to anybody. Being married, you do give up some freedoms,
Mm-hmm.
But there's a trade-off. And, you've got to decide whether that trade-off has the value to give up those freedoms.
Because, what would you say some of the freedoms you give up are in marriage?
Well, for me, I mean, and it's different. It depends on, the relationship style. I mean, Thor, has a wife and a few girlfriends, and me, I choose not to live that way. Probably because I own guns and I'm, take ownership sometimes too much, but, it's different for me because of the values and stuff that I have. And I saw what cheating women do, because I lived it firsthand through my dad's life.
Right. Right.
And if I'm gonna give up, um, my freedom supposedly, then there's a certain level of integrity that I expect the woman to have.
Yeah.
And if like I said, I'm aware that if she wants someone else, all she really has to do, and I told both my wives this: just leave my ass. Don't fuck around on me. Just leave. We'll get divorced and split up everything however you want to split it up. I don't care, because the reality of it is, I made everything and I've earned everything I've got to this point, and I can do it again. I'm not that worried about it. But then again, I don't place a lot of importance in, the house that I own and that kind of stuff. It's more about how do I feel every day when I wake up, and what do I do that brings me, value, what's my purpose, and then what brings me fun, value and fun. And, for me, it's, working out, building guns and that kind of stuff. So what do you give up? I guess in some sense, if you're in a traditional arrangement, for me personally, it's other women. But, I don't see it as a loss.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just me. I'm more traditional than some of the guys, but the main thing is maintain your frame through your marriage, and, vet for integrity. I don't say vet for ho-ness or,
Mm-hmm.
or,
I'm going to give you main screen here for a second. I had a puppy emergency.
okay. So,
Just
that's
continue on that thought.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, just as you vet through life, you're always constantly vetting. And, if you're not doing that, if you're not discerning, I guess is a better way to put it. If you're not discerning the women and the other men that you bring into your life, you become a victim of whatever craziness they have. So, like I said, I'm not against marriage, and, it works for some people, and then, different arrangements work for other people. Me, I'm just not kind of a poly guy, unless it was just, me and multiple women. But I don't know how long I could maintain that. If you want to know how to maintain that long term, you might want to talk to Thor down the line, because he seems to be successful at it. So, anybody got any questions they want to put up there? I'll look at them, and while John's taking care of the dog.
You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Did you just sit there quietly the whole time?
No, I talked until No one asked a question, but I did talk.
Boner Jams, real quick. He says, "Been crushing all June, Uncle John. Thank you so much with the $9.99 super chat. That's right. Every day on the month of June, we will be here, guys, doing General's June, where I'll be featuring people that are helping me out in the upcoming next 9 weeks of body language mastery. And you know, you're gonna get a lot of traditional masculinity gems like Raith and the whole squad. And if you're interested, just go on down to modernlifedating.com/body language. Scroll down and then just put on this, just click right here, put your best email address in here, hit that notify me button, and join. We're now at over 110 members on the waiting list just in the month of June. This is going to be huge, I'm telling you guys. And we can't really speak freely on YouTube because, you know, it's censor tube, it's SJW tube. But we could tell you, if we wanted to do a men's makeup channel, I'd be a multi-jillionaire. But you know, we're teaching the old school masculinity stuff, and it's frowned upon because it teaches you to think for yourself. And a man that thinks for himself and operates on his own terms, that's something that's not very lucrative to these corporations and governments that want to control us. So with Raith, man, you know, I like what you said there, how you really don't care if your wife took half your stuff because you'll make it all back again. And honestly, like, I had a consultation with a guy recently, and he's living with this girl, and he just like was telling me how much he hates her. And he's like, I want to be successful. And I told him, like, look, dude, if you want to be successful and you wake up every day next to a woman you hate, that's just not a recipe for success. Like, you got to throw her out of your life. But he's like trying to rationalize it to me and tell me, no, but you know, I love her and this and that. I was like, listen, dude, love is a one-sided egotistical investment. The emotional love, not real love. You know what I mean? And I told him, like, you're never going to get to where you want in life if you wake up every day and you look at somebody like, man, I hate this fucking person. I say, you got to get rid of him. I think a lot of guys are afraid to just give it a go and try something new. And, you know, I think that's something that men need to just be, you know, let's just say, like, fuck you. I'm taking my ball and I'm going home. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, when my first wife died, I own a house in Idaho, and that's where we were when she died. I went and rented a 1-bedroom apartment, rented out my house.
Mm-hmm.
You know, got rid of all the shit, started life over again.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I told my kids, I said, look, you know, this is the stuff that's in the house. The couch, my bed, the TV, my guns, they're all going with me. Whatever else you guys take.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it wasn't because of anything other reason. I just didn't need to be tied down by all that shit.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't feel destroyed in the sense that I lost all my personal or all these, you know, belongings that was a part of that marriage. But, you know, I felt that, you know, I just needed to figure out, you know, me for a little bit because I'd been married 33 years.
Yeah.
And the best part of way of figure to me was to, you know, get rid of all that stuff and, you know, go start something new.
Yeah.
But you know, I understand a lot of people, they get tied into, you know, this is what I needed to make me comfortable and to identify me as who I am. And, I just don't buy into that. I don't buy into the fact that, you know, because I have this is who I am. And,
Yeah.
you know, because ultimately who I am gets determined every day by me, not other people, you know, and, you know, if you talk to numerous people, some people think I'm an asshole. Other people think I'm a great guy, you know, but what I do know every day is I wake up and I'm okay and comfortable with who I am. And I know what my purpose in life is.
Yeah.
You know, Spider Tech asked a question, what's the one thing that young men should do to invest in themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Find a purpose.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have a purpose, you can't sit and determine who you are and what you're going to do in life.
Yeah.
and what you're willing to do to get what you want to do in life.
Yeah.
And that's, like I said, that's the biggest thing when I talk to these young men is it's just like, and I've been doing this for 12 years now, through the organization I work for, but so many young men come out with no idea about who they are, what it takes to be a man. And they have this, if there's any toxic masculinity, it's the fact that they believe they're toxic.
Yeah.
And that's given to them through their parents or through school or whatever.
Yeah.
But way too many of these young men don't like themselves.
Yeah.
And the reason they don't like themselves is they don't know who they are. And they don't put any effort into figuring out who that is.
A lot of these guys, they almost feel guilty for being a man. Like they're somehow inconveniencing the world by being a man. Let alone, I've noticed this, and you probably noticed this as well, but there's been a pretty big campaign in America against straight white men. And I just don't understand this hatred that I'm seeing mainly come out of Hollywood and social media. How just like for example, like with this whole Black Lives Matter thing, right? That automatically we are to assume every white person is guilty of racism, and every white person needs to shut up because it's black people's time to speak or whatever. But they just feel like there's like they're trying to put a blanket of guilt over the common person. And I just think like this is just, I see it clear as day. And who really points this out to me is my mom. My mom's old school. She's Trinidadian. And she's like, there's a war against the white man because America is founded by white men and it's a great country. Because my mom's an immigrant. So she came from, Trinidad and Tobago. And I don't know have you ever been to Trinidad?
No.
I mean, it's okay, but I wouldn't live there. There's a lot of poverty, a lot of crime. It's good food, good for vacation, but not really my cup of tea. And definitely, certainly not America. Nobody's lining up on boats to go to Trinidad, but everybody in the world is trying to get to America for a reason. And it just seems that, like, especially these guys, like, I get some consultation with younger men who just seem so defeated. Like, for example, when young Trey came into the group, like, remember how he first was and compared to how he is now, but like it was
I'm proud of him. I'm proud of him. He's he's went out and he's finally figuring out what it is that defines him.
Yeah.
And I worked with him a little bit, and I think he didn't have a lot of direction about. He knew what he wanted, but couldn't figure out how to get there from here. And that's kind of what I helped him with. I hope I helped him with it.
Yeah.
But I mean, and that comes from, a lot of different things. It's just, they're trying to rewrite history through, I'm trying to think how I want to say this. They're trying to rewrite the history of this country through through prejudice against the founding fathers.
Yeah.
All those guys that set up the rules, and wrote the Constitution, they were all white guys, and it's the fact that color doesn't own wisdom, and color doesn't own right.
Yeah.
And I think, as we were talking through that one show, and there's a lot of men in this group that I respect, and Abu being one, Afi being one, Myron could call me anytime and say, hey, I got a body to hide. What do I need? I'd be there for him, and I just respect him as he's a young man, but I respect him. I respect, the purposes that he has and the drive that he has.
Yeah.
And, same thing with, Abu. I read Abu's book, and it gave me a lot of understanding into why he's made choices that he makes.
Yeah.
And they were wise choices for him.
Yeah.
But and Afi, Afi's just a guy you can't not love as a fellow man, because he's there. He's always, hey, let me tell you how I feel about this. And that's one of the reasons I come into this community, is because not so much to say how I feel about everything, but to be around like-minded men, and to have men check me, and you check me, Myron checks me, and I'm older than any of you guys. But I take value in the fact that you have the ability to be honest with me.
Yeah.
I mean, you've told me to get off my ass and do stuff. Myron's told me to get off my ass and do stuff. And I respect that in you. I respect that in him, and I respect that in the men of this community.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at when men can't raise their sons. They leave it to other men.
Yeah.
And the best thing that I think a lot of young guys can do that have lacked that is to come into this community.
Yeah.
And I know you don't want me plugging your shows, plugging everything, but I mean, like I said, it's offered me an outlet, and you've offered me an outlet, and to talk about the things that, I think are important.
Yeah.
And, you've done a lot for me. As much as I think, as you say, I've done for you, you've done the equal amount for me.
Thank
and
you.
That's part of the bonding, and that's part of being men.
Yeah. And I hate to, okay. So I'm not one of these people that thinks like, doom and gloom and men are going to eventually be put in gulags and stuff like that. No, the truth is getting out. Let me tell you guys, for all you guys that are worrying about the propaganda right now, right? The same people that are like champion for racial justice right now, right? These people 3 months ago were fist fighting each other in Walmart for toilet paper. Okay. And I'm not talking black people. I'm saying white people, Spanish people, just the fucking dummies of the world controlled by the media and the social media and just that programming stuff. You have to look at the world for what it is right now. And there's a lot of stupid people being controlled by social media and still the mainstream media, right? But the reason why they are doing this right now is they are pushing so hard because I feel like they are losing grasp of their control. I feel like more and more people are waking up, and history shows that you cannot suppress the truth. The truth will find out. It is our nature as humans to desire the truth. Innovation comes from truth. Progress, everything that is valuable as a human species comes from truth. Science is based upon truth. Technological advancements, medical advancements, everything, nutritional advancements, all comes from truth. You can only push a lie for so long because at the end of the day, just look at history. The truth always gets out. And I think what we're seeing right now is I feel like it's, you ever see Minority Report when the lady, like, she squeezes that plant and tries to start to kill it? And they said at the end of the day, that thing is just, it'll fight for its own survival. And I feel like this leftist, this Marxist, I don't know if you noticed this, but did you notice that the Black Lives Matter fist is the same fist from the Communist Party?
Yeah, I did notice that, yeah.
And a lot of people just don't seem to study history. They don't seem to realize it. I think that these people, they're on their last leg because, again, if it doesn't get killed from the inside, it's definitely going to get killed from the outside because China, they don't play this bullshit at all. I want to show you something, Raith, and I just want to get your organic reaction because somebody sent this to me, and I fucking died laughing when I saw this shit. But it's kind of sad, but it's kind of true at the same time. Take a look at this advertisement right here.
You're young. You're finding out that life is hard. You've been protected and coddled from the ills of society that you haven't a clue on how to cope with reality. You believe that gender is on a spectrum, but reality is showing you that only two genders exist. You're taught that your mere existence means you're special, but you find that you're just a flea in a much larger population of insignificant fleas. Your feelings of rage continue to inflate because you had no father in your life to help you develop emotional maturity. Your mother was a drunk that had you only for increased government monetary support. Your eyes widen, your insecurity growing, and your flabby arms are wiggling like government-grade gelatin. You have nothing that defines you. Is there a place for you? Yes, because you are ready to join Antifa. By joining Antifa, it isn't the feeling of being a part of something that matters, but the reward of being the piece of shit you've known deep down you are. Don't think about it too much, and we won't allow it. There's racism and shit out there. So why not feel like you're doing good by wiping out everything that's contributed to this racism and stuff, which is anything and everything. It's society's fault that you're angry. Let's tear it all down. Besides, it's not like you'll amount to anything anyway. You've already tattooed your face, avoided hygiene that developed that permanent Antifa stench, and learned no skills that are beneficial to society. Why not blindly follow a collective that makes sure that if you suck, then everyone else sucks too? If you can't have it, then nobody else can have it. Antifa, your only reason you exist.
Oh my God. I fucking love that commercial because it really just justifies. If you look at, like, Richard Cooper was talking about this, and if you look at these people that are part of this Antifa and all these like loser organizations, they just look like bums. They look like unkempt losers. That the only thing they can live and die by is just like, oh, there's inequality in the world and I'm emotionally upset about it.
Yeah, and I think, I like I said, that comes from the fact of, there's no struggle, and they're inventing a struggle. And that's what organizations do. They'll invent a struggle for you to, participate in when you can't realize your own personal or independent struggle. Part of this country was because men wanted to be independent. And, these young people want to be independent of independence. Mm-hmm. They're looking for someone to tell them what to do. They're looking for someone to tell them how to feel, because, developing your own feelings is tough. It hurts. Yeah. It's hard, so these organizations have figured that out, and they use it to their advantage. Let me tell you what's the right thing to do. And way too many young people, male and female, have no understanding of what's right and what's wrong. They wait for someone to tell them what it is.
Yep.
And, that's why it's easy to get into these movements.
Mm-hmm. This girl, go ahead.
It's just because they don't develop any personal identity.
Let me ask you something, Raith. If you protest for racial equality, but you don't put it on Instagram, does it count? Because it seems that everybody's that's protesting for this racial equality, everybody seems to want to put it on Instagram and show the world, like, I'm part of something and I believe in this and look at me, I'm a good person. And more so, let's not champion the fact that I'm a good person, but let's tear other people down. These movements are based upon hate. They're not based upon love.
I guess my individual protests about racism every day is the fact that I reach out my hand and, take another person's hand, no matter what they are.
Yeah, for me, like, I never even, when I made Body Language Mastery, I was like, I'm going to target white people. Like, I didn't, I just put it out there. And the community, we've got Indians, we've got Arabs, we've got Asians, we got fucking Zuzu for life who bypasses the Chinese firewall to attend. We got guys in Japan, we have French guys, we have white guys, we got fucking Mexican guys. Like, remember, were you in Pandemic Pickup when that one guy was in Belgium and he couldn't really speak English that well, and John
Yeah.
Simon had to translate from French to English to him, and we helped him out. Like, I just don't see, you know, I'm not even trying to like be like, I'm diverse and oh fucking look at me. I don't care. Look, I'm racist in the sense that I hate everybody equally. So I don't know if that makes me terrible or makes me a saint. But I mean, I think the only prejudice I have is against stupid people. And
So let me reverse that on you. If you hate everyone equally, you love everyone equally also.
let's not paint me in a good light here.
I think the best thing about it is, you know, through the body life, through MLD programs, let's just say that way.
Right.
It's not geared towards anything other than, and a lot of people think it's all about dating and, you know, fucking as many girls as you can fuck and that kind of stuff. It's not. It's more about giving you the confidence if that's what you want to do, that you have the confidence and the ability to do it.
Yeah.
With some guys, you know, as you know, when we work through all these sessions and stuff, some guys it's more about, hey, how do I make more money? Some guys, how do I get more women? And a lot of it is just, how do I get started? You know, and it has less to do about, you know, fucking as many women as you can, and more about, hey, how do you become the best man you can be?
Yeah.
And
they all come in there. You know, you've been in enough webinars. You know, week 1, everybody's like, how can I fuck all these girls? And week 3 is like, how can I forgive my fucking father and my mother? And how do I develop like my inner self-esteem? It always starts with the girl stuff, and we sort that out in the first week, because getting girls is easy. It's fucking easy, especially when girls, especially American girls, they flood the market with pussy. It is so easy. These girls give it up for a cup of coffee, man. Or at least with me, they do.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just like, guys, there are bigger fish to fry, but that's what the goal of modern life dating is. It's to empower men so they can take this pussy off a pedestal, take the mystique of understanding dating. Because dude, I'm telling you, like in 30, 40 years down the road, like all the knowledge I have is going to be put in like a contact lens you can put on and be like, okay, I can read her attraction levels and all this stuff. And, you know, I'll be out of a job. But this attraction stuff is true. Like, there are signals, there are indicators, there are tells that we have as humans, just like how we study birds doing mating season, zebras, lions, cats, dogs. Humans have those things that are analyzable as well. And once you learn it, it takes the mystique away. Like, it's like, you know, once you see a magician and you know how he does the trick, you're like, man, fuck this guy. This is stupid. I want to go do something else.
Taking the mystique away takes the fear away.
Yes.
You know, and once the fear is gone, you know, you can go out and realize, hey, you know, it's just, you know, it's just vagina. Everybody wants some of it, but you know, it's not currency in the man's world. It may be currency in the female world, but it's not currency in the man's world. You know, we live, you know, okay, I'm going to be kind to everybody. We live 23 hours a day, you know, trying to be the best us we can be. And if you're lucky, you may live an hour a day inside a vagina. Yep. If you're lucky, you know,
it's too long for me.
It's too long. Okay.
Too long for me. An hour. Ugh, I get 15 minutes max.
Well, but it's the, you know, by the time you take sleep out of that, I mean, that gives you, you know, 15 hours and 45 minutes to, you know, go out and accomplish something.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, what a lot of guys don't understand, getting up out of bed is not an accomplishment unless you're my age, you know, because, you know, but that's the thing. It's just, how do you give purpose to people? And part of that is, you know, breaking down the mystique. And, you know, guys get told at an early age, you know, through Disney and stuff, that you've got to find a woman, and, you know, you've got to find that love and experience all that. And it's fine if you do, but, you know, what do you do with yourself if you don't? Do you sit and make yourself miserable? No, you go out and you do other things and you perform, because as you start performing, there are going to be women that are attracted to you because of your ability to perform, because performance brings money. It brings prestige. You can't do much for your looks, but the more money you have, I guess you can alter your looks if you want.
Yeah.
But that's the point of, all the body language does is give you the ability to look at the indicators if you're in the right frame of mind and you're in the right place in your life to accept that.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think the program, it's a bait and switch sometimes when you come into this, because you come in thinking, hey, I'm going to figure out how to get women. And what you leave with is, hey, I'm a better man.
Yeah.
And, I have the ability to get any woman I want if I want to focus on that. But
Yeah.
I don't think, for the most part, a lot of what we talk about, a lot of what we do, and a lot of the help we give is about making you a better man.
Yeah.
And then, when she plays with her hair, that you can lock that down.
Yeah.
But, you've got to be able to get yourself in a position so that you can witness that to begin with.
Yep. And you're a guy in your 60s. You got 3 women you're seeing. One of them's in her 20s. What do you say to these guys like, I'm 35, I'm 45, my sex life is over, I could never get with young women again. I'm thinking about the Smith & Wesson retirement plan. Like, or the guys, I'm 5'4", I'm 5'6", woe is me. What do you say to those guys? Because you got so much wisdom in you. You've lived. You're so stoic, man. I feel like I have to cattle prod you to get a fucking emotional reaction out of you. It's a good thing. It's not a bad thing at all. Not everybody can be an emotional wreck like me.
I guess from the standpoint is this, what you believe is what happens to you, and that's what you are.
Yeah.
So, if you believe, I'm like I said, I'm 60 plus, and if I believed that, my sexual experiences were in the past, that's where I'd be.
Right.
I work out 4 days a week, and a lot of guys my age are sitting and walking with walkers.
Yeah. No TRT, right? No TRT for you either?
I don't take TRT. I think last time I got tested, I was like 805.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes from, nutrition and working out.
Mm-hmm.
And, not giving in to the fact that I'm 60 plus years old.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, with that comes wisdom of not doing things that I couldn't, do anymore. But you modify your life based on what your physical limitations are. And as of right now, I don't really have any.
Yeah.
Other than I probably couldn't climb a mountain these days. But
yeah, you've climbed enough mountains.
Yeah, but the thing is guys, it comes down to the fact is you get as much effort out of life as you put into it.
Yeah.
And if you're not putting any effort in, that's exactly what you get.
Yep.
Zero effort has zero outcome.
Yep.
And like I said, I'm 60 plus years old. And I've sent John pictures.
I'm laughing at this comment, not the fact that you're 60. I'm laughing at Ernie saying MLD is so damn cute. I just want to grab him up and hug him. Have you ever talked to Ernie? Ernie is like a man's man. Like, this guy always carries a knife and a gun with him at all times. He's an old school
Everyday carry.
He's a good Californian. He's one of those rare Californians. Him and Thor.
Yeah. But like I said, that's what it is. It's about, if you set those limitations for yourself, that's what you're going to live in. And I think about a year ago, you and I were talking about the same thing, and you asked me, well, who you been dating? I said, I've been dating like 35 to 45, 50. You go, oh, dude, you need to date younger. I said, shit, you're right. I do need to date younger. And you've seen pictures. I've sent you pictures of some of the girls I date, and
Yep.
I think the youngest is 22. The one I got a 24, 26, and a 48-year-old right now.
Yep.
So, and it was just you telling me that broke down that barrier for me to say, hey, what the hell? Try.
Yeah.
And you can't date 22-year-olds if you ain't trying to date 22-year-olds.
Absolutely.
And I was kind of surprised the first one, but it's been fun ever since.
Yeah.
But don't live in your limitations, guys. Live in your unlimited ability.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always best to Ollie J says he's sampling women from age brackets. It's always better for you to think big than to think little. And I know that sounds Disney, but like when I set out, a lot of people are just so financially incompetent and they think so small. They see my YouTube channel, right? Right now we're at like 7,500 subscribers. And, I tell them I make more than $10,000 a month. And then they say, oh, he's got to be scamming. He's got to be snake oil salesman. Like they automatically associate that subscriber count and viewership must be high in order to get money. But they don't take 2 seconds to understand just that even if you have 7,000 subscribers, right? You only need a small portion of those people to support you to do very well. But they're so incompetent, they don't even want to think. It's like they just they think something, they not even think something, they feel something like blah, just out. There's no calculations, there's no critical thinking. Somebody in the chat was just mentioning that there's no critical thinking skills, nothing. And that's where guys like us win, because we sit down, we critically think about things, and then we create solutions. And that's the thing. I think a lot of people just don't believe that they can do what they want to do if they just have discipline, consistency, and a plan. Like it's very simple. If you want something, you come up with a plan to get it. So first you have your goal. My goal was $10,000 a month, net profit from the internet every month, right? And then I created a business plan, and it didn't work. And then I optimized, and and it got to the point that it works. And then me and Donovan were talking about this yesterday. After you hit $10,000 a month, you're like, all right, guess I'm going to shoot for 100,000. It's just natural male instinct to always want to go more and just get that to that next level. It's that achievement, that drive for achievement that, quite honestly, I don't think a lot of people have it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and I think you shortchange yourself too, because you didn't mention the one thing you do have and what you do offer, and that's value.
Well, thank you.
If you don't have anything of value, no one's, people are going to watch you for a little while, and I may still be on your subscriber list, but I'm not paying attention to you anymore. And, you do offer value, and exhibit that just by looking at the people that you're able to bring into these webinars and stuff like that. And I'm not even talking about the red pill people. I'm talking about, the people that you bring in and bring onto your show that have nothing to do with the red pill, but they offer value in finance. They offer value in, motivation. And I know sometimes I sound like a angry Tony Robbins, but, the thing is, the reason I participate is, the value that you try to bring, and I hope I contribute to.
Yeah, well, you definitely do. And I think like a lot of people, they have a very, I think John P said it best right here. And thanks to Boss Legend says, damn John, 3.8 million subscribers. It's going to happen. John P says scarcity mentality. And I think that's what it is. They just think when they start a community, like I got to be the spotlight, and it's the me show and me. But like, my thing is, I don't know if you know this is a YouTuber, but her name is iJustine. And I met her one time, and I went to like this YouTube convention in Orlando. And when she saw me, she was giving me some heavy choosing signals, just saying. But iJustine, she told me, I said, what's the number one thing you learned as a YouTuber? Because she was like one of the pioneer YouTubers. She's still doing it to this day. She's my age. She's still beautiful. And she said, you have to engage your audience. Like, don't forsake them. Don't leave them on the back burner. You got to engage. And I think, out of all the guys in Rule Zero, I work the hardest. Not trying to discredit those guys or whatever, but, I'm on the air 6-7 days a week. These webinars, I mean, you watch my health deteriorate over the course of those 3 weeks. And it's fine. It's what I chose to do with my life. It's my purpose. And getting in there and doing the nitty gritty, listening to people, and Josh had his panic attack when he freaked out about the real estate lady fucking him over. And we had to negotiate him, tell him hey, she's trying to pull a fast one on you. Hold your grounds because they're trying to just milk you for money. Young Trey with his, he was kind of stuttering and stuff when he first came in and just seemed like an abused puppy. And now he's speaking confidently. He's hooking up with chicks. He's got a job. He's doing a lot better for himself, but he did the work. He put the effort in. And so I think that just getting in there and talking with the men, man to man, literally talking with them, looking them in the eye and holding them accountable. When some people try to weasel their way, well, I didn't do this because of this, you've seen some of my classic freakouts in the webinars. I don't like when people think they're going to pull some shit on me, and you're not going to pull something on me and give me some bullshit excuse. I had a terrible, hard upbringing, and I fucking made it. And so if I made it, you're not I don't want to hear any excuses. I mean, Josh Courtleave is in the group. Josh is having sex with girls, and he's paralyzed from the fucking neck down.
Right.
If that guy can fuck 11 girls in his life, and he can't walk, then there's no excuse for anybody out there. I don't care what your skin color is. I don't care if you have no fucking, you're 5'1". I don't give a shit. It's possible. And you're better off thinking in life that something is possible rather than it's not possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think the value, one of the values that you bring and as we bring as a group is that we do hold people accountable.
Yeah.
If they're, you had that one rant that went on for an hour, but I can't remember the kid's name. You know who I'm talking about.
It's Eric.
Yeah. But, it's just, we're going to hold you accountable. In a way, he's paying for your time, but he's only buying the knowledge that comes in your course. He's not buying your time.
Yeah.
And, as I tell, and, Aurelian's in here. I work with Aurelian.
Mm-hmm.
And
good kid. Very good kid.
Yeah,
Very smart.
He is. Just had a birthday Sunday too. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Aurelian.
But the reality of it is, we don't want to waste our time if you're not willing to put any effort in. And these are relationships, guys. You build a relationship with every person in this group. And if you're not giving something in that relationship, we're going to be man enough to ask you, hey, and call you out on the fact that you're not doing it. And all we're asking for in that relationship is that you progress as a man, and that you start self-actualizing a little bit about what your purpose is and how you're going to get there. If you're not willing to do that, most of the guys, they're not kind. I mean, I'm probably the nicest of them all, but no, actually Thor is, but that's what
Thor is pretty nice.
He is. He's really nice.
He looks like a terrifying guy, but you talk to him, you're like, oh, this guy's a sweetheart.
Yeah. And God loved Josh. I remember when he was still dating that gal, and he's like, I just can't, I don't know. And dude, you're just addicted to the pain. You gotta get out of that mindset. Yeah. But like I said, we're all there trying to help each other, and we're trying to invest in each other. And if you're not willing to, work on the investing in that, then it's not really worth our time.
Yeah.
And, if you think that, you're going to come in and whine, we're not your mom.
Yep.
We're just not going to listen to it. We're going to give you advice. And if you come back and keep saying the same stuff, John's going to unload on you. And then probably 5 other guys will unload on you too. But that's the reality of it. We're just we're investing in you, so we expect some return on the investment, and we don't get any. Me personally, I haven't taken a dime from anybody, and that's probably going to change because I spend a lot of time doing this.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is even for what I would charge, it's going to be a lot less than if you go spend 3 weeks at Tony Robbins seminars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's personal. It's we're going to have those conversations, and that information really doesn't go anywhere. It's between you and I.
Yeah.
Just like everything that's in the webinars, you can remain anonymous. You don't have to say a lot about yourself or anything like that. But the reality of it is it is an investment, and we do invest. So we expect something in return for that, and what the return we're looking for is you to be successful.
Yeah. Definitely. And that's what we're doing. So I think another thing a lot of people don't seem to realize is there is so much value in red pill advice across the board. Talking about office politics, talking about dealing with that lady in HR, the LinkedIn game, I mean, there's just red pill finance truths, like people who sell to you, they ain't your friends, the banks, these loan agencies, these loan officers, mortgage companies, realtors, all this stuff, just the hard masculine truth that you, quite honestly, a lot of the times you just can't get if you're 24 because you haven't been alive enough. You haven't been alive long enough to go through this stuff. Hell, even if you're fucking 27, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that's a big thing that a lot of people don't really understand, that some of the guys don't know what they don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think from a standpoint, like I said, they don't go out and live life, and because they haven't went out and lived life, they sit back and they wait and think that the process of waiting is going to change something.
Yeah.
And you can get addicted to waiting just like you can any other drug. All right. Mm-hmm. And waiting becomes the drug of choice. I'll wait and see what happens. I'll wait and see if it changes. Waiting doesn't change anything. It just forestalls the reality that you're going to have to deal with it sooner or later. And waiting gets you a 3 feminist, that you don't even respect yourself for when you look in the mirror. Yeah. Waiting gets you basically, a job at McDonald's, because eventually you're going to have to pay your way one way or another. Yeah. And if you wait long enough, you get to live out on the streets.
Procrastination, man, it's a comfortable short-term solution, but if you get used to waiting too much, that waiting becomes fear because you get comfortable in that procrastinating state. This is why I tell guys all the time, you got to take action. You have to take action. I could have sat there. I know people, there's a guy back in Orlando, right? I left Orlando to come to Japan in 2012, November 4th, right? And this guy was talking to me about coming to Japan then. He's still getting ready to this day. It's like, I'm almost there. Getting ready. Tokyo's, it's in my sights. This Corona thing really threw me off. But, these last 7 years, I was was lining it up. I was just like, all right, buddy. God bless you. I'll see you when you get here. I'll be here. We'll go have some sake. But
he'll be that 60-year-old guy that comes over trying to date your 22-year-old daughter, man.
Man.
They won't understand why you're angry with him.
Oh God, it's just funny. But listen, guys, this is Raith, one of the great guys in the group. Again, right here, text MLD to 30500 to get on the waiting list. Android, iPhone, doesn't matter. Nokia, just send a text. You'll be on the waiting list. Or go to modernlifedating.com/body language. This is going to do it for us today here on Generals June, where every day in the month of June, I will be streaming featuring a general in the Hot Dude Army that's going to be part of the educational webinars that are happening starting July 1st. Remember, in order to enroll in Body Language Mastery, you can only enroll during a 5-day enrollment window. Just like college, there's an enrollment period. June 25th, June 26th, June 27th, June 28th, and June 29th. June 29th, midnight, it's over. We have a massive team of people coming together. Richard Cooper's audience. John from Bulldog Mindset. Sterling Cooper's on board, right? Troy Francis, Rollo Tomasi. You've seen them all here. Donovan Sharp, all the big names. This is the biggest and largest body language mastery enrollment we have ever had. I am working hard to make these webinars even better. Stay tuned because we still have so many more men to feature, especially this Sunday. We have a special episode with Josh from Eat Lift Program. We're not going to do the Red Pill Sunday sermons, but it's going to feature Josh as well. So hit that like button, hit that comment button, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.